What is up, YouTube? Finance Finesse back here with another video. And we're here to answer this question. Can you actually make over $80,000 a year driving for Uber? I've seen different answers online, Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, and it seems like everyone has their own opinion. Instead of just relying on other people, I thought, let's get in the field, let's get behind the wheel, let's do some driving, let's get some data, throw it in a spreadsheet, and see how it looks. So we did a 3-day weekday sample size to get some data on maybe what the non-busy hours would look like. So here's our Monday. We did a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday split. Monday, we are online for 7.5 hours, active for just about 5 of those 7.5 hours. Quick differentiation we need to make between online and active hours. Online hours count every minute you are quote-unquote clocked in to the Uber app. Active hours are actually a part of online hours, but active hours only include time from when you accept a trip to when you finish a trip. So if I accept a ride and then it's a 30-minute drive to go pick up a customer and then a 1-hour drive until the destination, that would be 1 hour and 30 minutes of active time. But if that was the only ride I got in a 3-hour period, my online time would be 3 hours and my active time would be 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I hope that gives a little bit of clarity as into the difference between online and active time. So our earnings for Monday, $208.53. We had a total of 14 trips. You can see the breakdown on the earnings there. So our fares came out to $162. We had an $8 promotion, which is basically just a 5% bonus that Uber gives you if you are Uber Gold, which is a status that I hold. Other earnings, $21.22. That is 1 hour of paid sick time. And then tips were $17.10. Tuesday, 10 hours online, 5 hours active. Tuesday was weird. I do have to admit that Tuesday was weird. So I spent over 10 hours online, and when you say that, you think, oh, you must have earned the most. No, we did not. So this is our highest hour of online time, and it was not our highest earnings. We had $202.49. Promotions, again, is at 5%. Giving us $9.63. Our net fare was $192.86. We got no tips this day. So we had 5 less rides. Our trips came out to only 9 trips on the day versus Monday. We had 14 trips. So a big difference there. We're online for 10 hours versus 7.5 hours on Monday. And we had 5 less trips. This is one of the main takeaways of the video that I think you should keep in mind. Is being online longer doesn't automatically mean you make more money. So part of the problem with Tuesday's session was the first ride of the day was fantastic. It was a 40-minute ride, and I think it paid me about $50. The problem with that is it took me all the way out to the middle of nowhere where there weren't Ubers being requested. So I had to spend another 40 minutes and fuel costs from out in the middle of nowhere to drive back to where the rides were. Something to keep in mind, right? Just being online doesn't mean you make more money. Take a look at Wednesday. Online, 8 hours, active 4.5 hours. So again, 2 less trips on Wednesday, 7 compared to 9. Our total earnings were $187. Okay? $6 tip. Who knows? Maybe we were being a little bit nicer to people. Maybe they were being a little nicer to us. Not quite sure. But sometimes it's just luck of the draw. So $6 tip. Promotions, again, $8. So they got us there on the promotions. And that was just the extra 5%. I think this is our highest earnings per trip day. So because we were active for 4.5 hours and our earnings were $187. Oh, I forgot. Let's take a look at the weekly summary. So our weekly: online for 26 hours, 25 minutes, active for 14 hours and 43 minutes. We did 30 trips in total, and our total earnings on the week were $598.12. So if we scroll over to our spreadsheet, we have all these numbers laid out a little bit neater for your convenience. Feel free to pause the video if you want to take a look at any of this and think about the numbers. So again, our highest online time was Tuesday. Our lowest online time was Monday. Highest active time was also Tuesday, and our lowest active time was Wednesday. Again, we had about a $20 spread between our lowest earning day and our highest earning day. They were all roughly around $200 a day, but time clocked in was vastly different. So 10 hours and 13 minutes compared to 7.5 hours, right? Same earnings, roughly, but time spent in the car, completely different. Take a look at a little bit of our summary down here. So earnings, we took our $598 and we less the charging and sick pay, and that brings us down to a net profit of $498.40. I drive in the state of Massachusetts, where there is a minimum driver pay guarantee. The minimum driver pay in the state of Massachusetts is based on your active hours. You're guaranteed to earn at least $34.48 per active hour over a 2-week period under the Massachusetts Attorney General Settlement Agreement. Okay? Our average net active hourly is $33.86 an hour. Something to keep in mind when we're looking at our numbers. The state of Massachusetts will take a look at our active hourly rate gross. They don't care how much we spent on fuel. They're going to look at our gross earnings, which is up there at G24, which is $40.64 an hour. That is well above the $34.48 Massachusetts minimum guarantee for driver pay. Main takeaways here: efficiency trumps online time. Doesn't matter that I was online for 10 hours on Tuesday. I made the same exact amount of money I did on Monday when I only worked 7 hours. Not cherry picking, not sitting there in your car for 3 hours waiting for a ride that seems to make sense to you on paper. Just accept the rides. Try to stay in the active time. Staying active means accepting any ride that comes in, because if it puts you in that active state, you're earning. And you'll either earn more than the state guarantee, or you'll earn less than the state guarantee, but then you're guaranteed that rate. So it kind of doesn't matter what rides you accept. It just matters that you accept rides. You're making $34.48 or more in the state of Massachusetts. And that's a very low risk, right? We did the math out. It makes sense to just accept every single ride you get, regardless of rider rating, regardless of length of trip. Just accept. I only worked 14 hours. If I had accepted trips for the entirety of the 26 hours that I was online, because I won't lie to you, I don't want to drive to certain places at certain times. Yeah, I get the little voice in my head that says, but I don't want to get stuck in traffic. But here's the thing. If you're going to work, it doesn't matter, right? You're clocked in. Would you get paid $35 an hour to sit in traffic? Most places you go to work, you don't get paid to sit in traffic. You don't get paid for your commute, right? You get paid for your clocked in time. Uber, if you're on your way to pick someone up, if you've already accepted the request, you are getting paid at that rate of $34.48 an hour. If we take $34.48 and multiply it out over a 40-hour work week, because you accepted rides nonstop, that's $1,379 a week. That then comes out to about $70,000 a year. No degree, no formal education. All you really need is a driver's license. $70,000 a year. That's just weekday pay. Keep that in mind. The busier times for Uber are on the weekend, are on the holidays. And that's going to be our next two videos in the series. Weekend pay and holiday pay. Then we'll be able to answer our initial question of can you make $80,000 a year driving for Uber. Thanks for watching the video. If you stayed this long, leave a bull emoji in the comment section. Also drop any questions you have down in the comment section below. Drop a like, subscribe.